Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. This is our first stream on here of the new special project called Mapmaker. So my plans started this new thing called our Special Projects Division. So obviously AoE is a multi-gameplay. We can't go to every single game every year due to a number of factors, but that's why we've come up with the SPD. So we can hit games that are really hot, really fun, really cool to play, and we can still get some presence on those games, even if it's not full section. So today is my first series in this, my first ever SPD for the clan, Far Cry Mapmaker. Back in Far Cry 2, I had made over 25 maps, and I loved doing it. It was so fun. A couple of them got really popular. I had a map with 5,000 downloads. We had a couple maps with over 1,000 downloads. So now that Far Cry 5 has what I'm calling an Unreal Mapmaker, it's time to play it and see what we can do. So, in this streaming series, it's all going to be about tutorials where I show you how to make basic things in, I picked out a map. I didn't want to do that. Where I show you how to make basic items, basic elements, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll get back to them as I can. So here, when you're doing the terrain type, and this is really good too. So when you start in Far Cry 5, you have almost a primal there. In Far Cry 5, you have two options for map making. You can either make a solo co-op map, which you can play by yourself or with a friend, and those like outposts, assault, that kind of stuff. Or you can make a multiplayer map, which features PvP and stuff like that. So this will be my second multiplayer map. I've already made one in co-op, and I've made one in multiplayer, and so far the one in actually solo is doing better, but if you're not gonna make like a forest map, but you want forest in it, this is a really good way to have that. So Cedar Forest, it's gonna, do the land for you. It's gonna do all the stuff for you. So, that's really good to have there. And you can get Rocky Island, you can get Outer World. Too bad you can't get snow. But I'm going to teach you guys how to do it from scratch. So, because you're going to want different types of forest. So we'll get into that in a second. So we're going to run to terrain, TDM, and we're going to start right there. Here we go. How to create basic forest. So like I said before, this video is going to be the first part in a series, and we're going to work on the same map. It's going to be multiple maps. Multiple videos on the same map. So what I'm doing actually right here is we're recreating one of my earlier Far Cry 2 maps. Actually, my last map I ever made on Far Cry 2, which was the AoA Game Reserve. So obviously, you can see whenever I make maps, most of the time I have this grid on, because it helps you orientate yourself with straightness. When you want your buildings perfectly straight, or you want your roadways straight, this grid is invaluable for that. So, this map, damn it, hold on. A little quick hint for when you're making maps. Up in the right-hand corner of the screen here, you'll see like a ×2, a ×3, a ×4. I can't see right now because the picture of me is blocking it. But press L3 if you're on PlayStation. I don't know what it is on Xbox. Press that button and it'll speed up your camera motion. Sometimes you want really slow camera motion for when you're positioning those precise pieces. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to terrain. We're going to go to map limits. So for this map, 1, 2, 3, 4. I always find myself overhitting this button. There we go. Alright. There we go. Good. Yeah, it's hard for when my screen is showing me is blocking it. So, here we'll bring this down a lot. Back in the day, this map was actually really small. It was a small design map on purpose, so that that would be really engaging towards the player. So we're gonna do 1, 2, and then you can see where I'm coming from on this. It's gonna be 3 squares. It's gonna end right here, and it'll be 3 squares on either side, so a total of 6 squares is gonna be what we're gonna be using for this map. And again, you can see right now I'm already using the grid lines. They really help with organization. Then we're going to put that one right there, and that's going to work out nicely. It's a little uneven, that won't matter, who gives a shit. Okay, so first things first with basic forest type. You gotta figure out what type of forest you're looking for. So you got mountain forests, you've got more woody forests, you've got forests that are, snowy forest, all that kind of stuff. So you have to figure out what we're going to go for is a standard wooded forest. So let's see here. First you're going to do is paint your textures. Now, when you come in here, for me, what I would do, since it's only going to be this big, I would just, and I'm not going to use anything else but wooded textures, since this is a complete wooded map. Sometimes you're going to want only parts of your map wooded or not wooded. So since this is a completely wooded map, I don't mind just selecting this and then pressing that, and then they'll do the whole map for me. But I actually don't like this color. This is not the color I want. I want a green, but not that. What about this? Dirt. The choices, actually, I gotta give Far Cry props of the choices. No. But, oh, here's more greens. Grass dark. No, not that. I could deal with that, but not that. This is close. I may want this one. I think this one's going to be it. I like this one. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys just for the video. I'll show you over here in a different corner of the map. So, this is the base texture that you start the game out with. It's going to show up as your neutral blocked texture until you change it like I did. So, here's your tools. Radius, which increases the size of your circle. Speed, which increases the size, or decreases the length of time that it takes for the map to paint the area within the circle. And then hardness. Hardness is like a shading tool. So everything within that inner yellow circle there will be will have a deeper tone to it than the others. And it's barely distinguishable. It's really only used for when you're creating like edges of forest, and you want like a wooded area to head out into a plain area. And I guess I'll show you that here in a second. We'll show you a transition. But I'll bring that back down again. Bring the circle back down again. Distortion. This is also like a fading tool, so you'll see right here. I'll go in close for you so you can see that. You really can't tell on here. I can see it, but you really can't tell until you get a a transition period. So this is just the shape of your marker, square, so you can do like even edges and stuff like that, and circles so you can do round. And slope is obviously slope. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to switch so I can show you guys how to do a different palette. Oh, there we go, hold on. Up to palette. Unfortunately, you only get 4. You don't get more than this, which is kind of a little bummy, but it is what it is. So let's do a lighter tone, because I like transitioning into lighter tones from deep green. This sounds good. Grass dirt. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to make like a little circle. And I'm going to show you guys what a transfer's like here. But before you do that, I guess I can show you now without the trees. We don't need the trees. Reduce the speed a little bit, so you can really show you guys how it works. 10. Hardness put down to 30. That's good enough. And then radius is good. Put the distortion up to 35, 70 so you can see it. Alright. Alright, so you can see right here that what's happening between the green and the white is you see that like kind of like shadowed rim area. That is the distortion. So you can see if I put distortion to 0 and we go over here, you see it's still it's much less noticeable there. And if you bring down the hardness a lot, you know, it's much less noticeable there. And you see when we brought down the hardness, it didn't make as big of a circle. That's because, again, the hardness dictates how impacting it is on a particular area. Alright. So bring the hardness back up again. We're going to bring the distortion back up. We're going to push it really big to 100 because I still don't think you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's really hard. Distortion's an advanced tool. So we're going to go, let's see, reduce the radius a couple sizes. Reduce the speed, so we're going to go bam, bam. Oh, I had it there. I had it really perfect. So you can see how it just shadows now instead of creating that list. It's more and more shadows because I'm only holding it there for a quick second, and that's it. And that's how you create transitions. You obviously have to add Forrest to make it, you know, and we'll do that here in a second. I'll show you guys what it looks like when you actually add Forrest to that kind of perimeter. Alright. Well, first we actually got to show you some things over here before we go back to there. Alright. So now we're going to do, once you got your palette painted on how you want things to be done, now it's time for the terrain tools. So, obviously, I'll show, actually, before we go into that, I'll show you here. The land's completely flat.
Team deathmatch.
Forest ground is not completely flat. It is bumpy, it is filled with stumps and rocks and bullshit. There's even hills. Oh, I went out of bounds. I don't know, I went out of bounds there. Alright, back to arcade mode here. Ubisoft, you need to put a button in Explorer mode that allows me to fucking just go back to Arcade Editor without me pressing pause. Please, thank you. So, obviously I'm gonna border this with a fence so that doesn't happen, but with this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the bump tool on very low settings. I've clicked objects there. So, terrain tools, you're going to see, I'm going to explain the terrain tools because you could use all these terrain tools in your game, especially with like making rivers and stuff like that, and we'll go over that in other things. But for now, we're just going to use bump. And we may use flatten depending on if I make any mistakes. And we may use smooth too. Well, we'll see. So bump, what it does pretty much, and I'm going to show you here on like the hardest settings so you get a really good idea of what it does. And hardness, and it goes, boom. Bump raises the land in your circle. Obviously, the more hardness it happens, the quicker the land. So I'll show you again. We'll put that back up, and we'll show you what it looks like with no hardness. It's more like a cone. See, instead of like a circle. So we're going to go, and I love the undo feature. Boom, boom. Totally undone. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start with a very low speed. Only 3. Very low hardness. So about 10. I don't even know if 10 is going to be good enough. I think that's too much. We definitely got to reduce this radius size. Because from here, I'm actually adding cabins and like a little area to each end of the map. So from here, I'm not going to add anything. So we're going to make this flat because they would have obviously flattened the land before building it. So what we're going to do is right here is we're just going to lightly, just lightly. So yeah, even that's too high. I think the hardness is high, too high. 5 hardness. And then we're going to go, I think the speed's a little too much too, and the radius is still going to be used down. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want to see. So, as you can see, and don't worry about going on the lines because you've already marked the boundaries. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pop out, and you can see right here how my map is starting to bulge. Now, we're definitely going to use the smoothing tool, as a matter of fact. We're going to smooth a lot of this out, but we're still going to keep some there. So it's like, okay, make the whole map really, really bumpy, unusable, and then take the smoothing tool to smooth it out. So that's what we're going to do here. And again, I went too far there. I'm going to have to smooth that whole thing out. But we're going to stop like in that little area because I've got stuff planned. But don't worry, again, go out your lines. It's perfectly fine. You know, but don't go too fast because if you go too fast, the bumping thing won't have time to take effect. Speed, especially when you're doing land carving, speed is really, like, see right there, I made it really impacts. Like, now I'm actually making impact. Speed's a very, very useful tool. It all depends. It's kind of like a paintbrush. This is where map creators differ themselves in their land structure and their positioning and their pieces. Because we all work with the same paints, you know, we all work with the same palettes, we all work with the same objects. Even though, I gotta give it to Far Cry, they have so many objects in this game that you can use. Ubisoft, well done. Ubisoft's been on a roll this last couple of years with Origins and you know, this game, For Honor was For Honor, but, you know, it's Ubisoft, so it can't be fucking perfect. I did actually forget to, see. So with a lot of, with other tools, L2 is like a reversal. Do not use L2 here because this is what happens when you use L2. It starts to sync like that, and you don't want syncing. In the areas that you don't want syncing. Like here I fucked up and I did not, create enough space for my cabin on this end. So what I'll use is I'll just use the smooth tool on maximum and it will smooth everything out. But the dig tool is actually good for making crevices. I use it, it's the main tool for river making and water making and stuff like that, but as far as this is concerned, I use it for crevices. And I'm also going to use it a bit here. We're going to lower down the speed once I kill ordnance. We're going to lower down the hardness to nothing. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to be really fast. Right now I'm digging. And this is going to create, as you can see, I've created quite a massive hole there. This is going to create textures in the land. Try to avoid my cabin spot. There we go. And bam. Alright, so now let's go on my land and see what we've done. So as you can see, this was actually the space for my cabin, and now we're going into the wooded area. And as you can see, there's mini hills, little ripples. Some of these hills are a bit too big. Like this one's probably a bit too big. Not too big, we gotta see how it works. But, again, like that was definitely too big. I think we could actually use a little more bumpiness. I think I might have went a bit too fast here. Well, that's out of bounds. But you can see, like, the land's got more bumpier, the land's gotten more realistic. And you definitely need that in a map like this. Some of these areas are a little too high for my taste. Well, I don't think the map is bumpy enough, actually. I think we need a tad bit more. So nailing your texture is really important, because if you don't nail the texture right, everything else is going to look like shit. Like, you just can't have a flat forest. Who the fuck has a flat forest? That's scrub. You don't want to be a scrub. Sorry, but it's true. You don't want to be a scrub. So we are going to I rose the speed up a little bit because there we go. That's looking much more heavier. I'm probably going to definitely have to do a lot more smoothing work. And I'm just going to go over the area I went over because I already know that I fucked up the first time and I'm going to smooth it out. But I went up to speed so that the effect would take less time to go into effect, and I can move faster with it. Okay, so now let's see what we've done this time. You can already tell going up to the edge that it's way more bumpy. These hills are definitely too big. We're going to have to use the smoothing tool here, but you can see that there's a lot more bumpiness. And I'm not going to completely buffer these bumps out, but we're going to buffer them quite a bit. Yeah, I like this. This actually feels more like a forest to me. So this is pretty cool. Now, I think we're about to go out of bounds here, yeah. I think this is also just big enough for what I want to do. I was worried that 6 squares might not be enough. I was thinking 8, but this is practically perfect for what I want to do. Okay. Alright, perfect. So now we're going to use the smoothie tool. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to smooth out my initial cabin areas so that I can notice those and not fuck those up again. So take terrain tools, and we're going to use smooth. A lot of people use razor lower, but that doesn't work nearly as well. That's more for creating platforms and creating like underground structures and that kind of stuff. So what I want to use is smooth. And you gotta be aware, like if we smooth out right here, smooth roughs out your terrain. So we'll match it with the terrain within inside the circle. And the hardness, that's where on the smooth tool, I'm going to put the hardness up to maximum because that's where the most smoothing effect takes place, is within that yellow circle. We're going to go to a maximum speed of 50. And again, I'm going to put the circle a bit outside the map so that the computer roughs out on an equal terrain. Because like I said, right here, if we did it right here, it will smooth it out, but it will still be at higher elevation than down here because this has been bumpy. And I guess I can show you guys. So as you can see, it smooths everything out. Even if that means bringing other pieces up to match, it will do that. So we don't want that. So I'll show you on the ground what that does. So as you can see, we went on a slightly higher elevation. And here's one of the peaks. So you don't want that when creating advanced maps. Or if you want that, that's up to you, but I don't want that. So we're going to undo, and you see all my peaks come back there? Now what we're going to do over here is we're going to use the tool again. Terrain tool. Smooth. And we're going to smooth out the outside here. I don't need much room. Just a bit. I want to up the speed just to make sure we're 100% there. Now you never want to keep your speeds at maximum unless you know you want the maximum effect of whatever you're doing. Never put them to maximum because you're going to make mistakes. Like I want this lake completely flat. This is why I'm doing this. But normally I'd never put it at this high. So when you're crafting specific land and when you're crafting custom things, you want to keep that. So we're going to take a look at the land now and see what I made here. Ah, yes. Good. How far back can I go? Where's the map outline here? Huh. Oh, I didn't go far enough to the right. That's what it was. Yeah, I think we may end up increasing the map. It depends on when I want to put my houses. Okay, so now that we've cleared that out, we're going to do the same to the other area over here. And then we're going to smooth out all the features using the smooth tool, but on a much lower setting. Speed maxed. Boom. Smooth me. See, this is what I meant when I messed up on this side, because it's automatically all I gotta widen the circle. You see, it was automatically editing my area to fit the surrounding areas and not flattening it like I wanted to, because that's the tool. So I had to make the circle bigger and include more of this complete flatland so the computer will flatten my land more. And now we're going to go and take a look at it here, see if I did enough. Oh yeah, this is plenty. Now you see how completely flat my land is? That's because we went out over here and we did that. So yeah, this is good enough. This is easily good enough. I can work with this. Alright, so now we have the little mountain peaks that we're all going to have to buff out. So again, you don't really want these being that noticeable. Like right now, they're really noticeable. Like cancerous lumps. And you really, really don't want that. Because this is supposed to be a forest floor. You're going to have people, no one's really going to pay that much attention to the ground. You're going to have people paying attention to the forest and any other elements you put in there. So, that's the plan right now. So let's go to terrain again. And we're going to go down to terrain tools, then to smooth. And now we're going to do a little, make it around. This is the size I like to do for, that is the size. This is the size I like doing for when I smooth out forest land. We're obviously going to bring the speed way, way down. Because we're going to go a lot slower here, so we're going to bring the speed down to 15. And then we're going to bring the hardness at least down to 30. So we'll try this setting and see how well it works out. Yeah, as you can already see, my land is starting to form up to shape. I think we're going to bring the speed up just a bit here. Yeah, that's much better. I think we're actually going to bring the hardness up about 20. So as you can see, it's starting to, you don't want to create holes. Be very wary of holes. Having a couple cusps on your map is okay. Like you see those are starting to become holes, that's fine. But, having completely dedicated holes, not good. I think this bridge is still too narrow. And obviously all that's been already flattened. Hey, hello, welcome to the stream. We're doing basic forest building right now. Right now I'm showing, we've already created our palette, and now I'm showing you guys how to bump the land so that it looks more forest-like than what it would be. So we're going to also bring the hardness up by another 10, and we're going to hit that. Boom. And this part could get really tedious, but if you really want to get that 5-star rating, if you really want to get, you know, that bunch of plays on your map, and we're going to create a rather nicer hole here, because I do want a couple of pitfalls in the map. If you want that 5-star, if you want those lots of plays, you got to put like every detail in. And, because the Far Cry, the audience of Far Cry they are very critiqueful. Alright. So now I've just done this square. I think we're good on this square. Oh, no, this one needs a little bit more. Let's bump the speed up just high for this. There we go. That one's helping me right now. So we're going to look at this square compared to other squares so you guys can kind of see a comparison. Because I think I'm done with this square. Okay. So obviously, you can already tell a difference even from high, from this square to this square. You can tell the difference. So let's go down here. Yeah, so you see, this is pretty much what I wanted. We're pretty much flat ground, and there's some slight hills, there's some slight stuff, but nothing like carnivorous. Nothing, I mean... No
offense, but a forest tutorial is a waste.
Well, I disagree. Having a good forest map is relative in Far Cry. There's a bunch of great forest maps. And as a matter of fact, I love one of my favorite types is the mountain forest style maps. No, I would definitely disagree with that. And so right here, you can see from where we have our more hilly land, you have over here is the unrefined stuff, and you see like this mound right here, and you see all these mountains. So we're going to take our time and go through back to the editor and smooth all that out. Alright. Smooth. We're going to lower the speed again, because I just had the speed on that high to take out that bump. Bring the hardness down to 50 was what we had it at, and then bring the speed down to 20. So you can already see we're working on these. Let me back out a bit. We're working on that bump right there.
Plant trees incomplete.
What was that? Sorry, I have the comments texted out, and that computer person is hard to hear sometimes. So again, when you're looking, you can just kind of like zoom real low, and you can see, yeah, it's still too hilly. It's still just, we're almost there. Let's bump the speed up to 25, shall we? And we'll continue here. And like I said, I know this takes a little tedious bit of time, but every little detail counts. Even if a player doesn't acknowledge it and they don't really pay attention to it, they'll subconsciously appreciate it. And every little element adds together to create a great map. Like I said, if you want that 5-star map, you gotta do some of these things sometimes. Alright, so I think we're pretty much good except for the large crevices, which I'm gonna hit with a higher speed, just so we can nail those out a little quicker. Raise the hardness up to 60 like we had it back there too, just for the tough bumps. Yeah, again, you don't want, I'm just focusing on kind of like the tough bumps right now. You don't want to get totally rid of your shallow bumps, because that really helps make a map. Alright, let's sit here for a minute. There we go. I think we're still too a little bumpy in some areas here. And we're going to do some little exploring here, because I think I may have flattened this area out too much. No, that's not too bad. Alright, so see we got one or two bumps still left, but having one or two bumps is alright. Not too big of a deal. You know, you could put a rock there, you could put something else there. So we're going to continue on to our third square. And I'm not really going to talk anymore because I'm showing you guys the first two squares. I'm just going to get this done as fast as I can so we can move on to the next step. Just bear with me for a bit. It'll only take about a couple minutes. Wax on, wax off. Oh. Alright, so as you can saw, we're pretty much done here. I want to go and I want to just zoom in really quickly and see if there's any quick spots I need to patch up real fast. Go down to 10. Let's see here. So you want to get really low, kind of like player length, and then you'll be able to tell the real spots. Let's do that spot just a bit more. This spot just a bit more. Again, you don't want to completely take away your your bevels here because you want them to look real nice and authentic, but it can't be hilly either. This ain't, for example, if this is actually like a hilly map, I would have left a lot of those bigger bevels in because that would have been help. But this ain't a hilly map. This is a woodland forest map, so this ain't like a mountain forest or anything like that, where the details would be more extreme. Alright, and then obviously most of this is supposed to be flat, and it's okay. So now we pretty much have our forest done, and that is the palette for your forest. Nice. Alright, so what we're actually going to do before we continue is I'm going back over here to demonstrate one more thing. I want to raise and I want to bump the land around here a little bit, so that when we transition, you guys can see how to transition to different textures appropriately. And then we're going to switch over to the smooth tool really fast and smooth this out. So especially when you're transitioning to different palettes and different textures, like if you wanted like a forest that led out into a desert or something like that, this is how you transition into that. So you can see it's still slightly bumpy. You're gonna have, this part has to be fixed, shit right here. With transition areas and maps, you're gonna have to have a very steep cutoff right near the transition area. So you kind of want to like fade it going off, but right at the area, right at the initial area impact, it's got to be really, really steep. So now, this is way too big. We're gonna nail that down quite a bit. Okay. This needs to be nailed down quite a bit too. Yeah. Alrighty then. I'll nail all this shit. Wax on, wax off. And I'm just doing that to be funny. I do find the sweeping circles approach to be the most realistic and effective. And that's, again, the best thing about Far Cry Mapmaker is that it's a damn tool. It's, like a canvas. Each person's going to have their different ways of flattening the land and using the tool, so really fun. Okay. We're going to come back to that later. So now we're going to add our basic forest. There's going to be a couple differences from like your standard forest. One, I intend on putting a lake through this map in later episodes, so we're going to have spots. We're going to have area that's not forested. This whole patch ain't going to be forested. There's going to be spots where there's not forest. Obviously, the cabins on each end, there's going to be clear forest. But for the most part, it'll be a genuine forest. So what we're going to do is go back to terrain, and we're going to go to vegetation. Now, you get 8 slots for vegetation, which that's pretty much enough if you're creative to do whatever you want to do. Now I don't care who you are. If you're trying to create a forest and you only have one vegetation type, it's not gonna look good. You have to put in multiple types, because I don't care who you are. I can play any map, and if the person's used one vegetation type, I'll know it, because I see the same patterns. Now, I know they say the computer randomly generates the forest, but even with that being so, I still see the same bush in the same position every time. And that is being a little stickler for that kind of stuff. But again, if you want that 5-star rating, if you want that real thing, you want to create a nice, really good looking forest with a bunch of different trees. So let's do that here. we are going to pick our first terrain type. God damn it, game. There we go. Okay. Now with terrain, you have a couple different options: bushes, dead trees, grass, palm trees, and recipes, no trees, trees. So I actually don't know what recipes are. Oh, so yeah, I get what they mean now. Recipes are actually what I was just talking. We've never had this on Far Cry 2. And again, you'll have to forgive me because I'm used to pretty much all the tools by now, but there's still a couple things that surprise me. This is actually one of them. So we're actually going to use this over here. We'll demonstrate what this is over here. But this is what I was talking about. They created like a wetland forest by combining different elements of forests and vegetation. So this is actually what we're going to be doing right now, but I'm going to do a custom one of my own. But we'll try out theirs because this is actually pretty cool and interesting. So I'm going to go intermountain mixed forest, alpine forest, alpine grass, intermountain riparian, mountain grass, wetlands, and then mountain forest. So we're going to start with grass. You always start with grass. There's not a forest. It's not a forest without mountain grass. So what you want to do, especially when you're transitioning to new periods of land, you're going to want to, we're going to pick alpine grass. We're going to go back to circle. I never use the square tool for this, unless I'm casting perfect edges. And with transfers into terrains, you don't want perfect edges. You don't want a cutoff point where everything just fades. You want where everything just stops. You want a faded transition. So we're going to switch up here. No, I want that. There we go. And now we're going to select mountain grass. Oh, wow. I didn't think it was going to be that. I may use this for the base grass. That looks really nice. But like I said, you can see it comes from the same shit. You can see the pattern already. Wow. That actually looks pretty cool. I may end up using this. Who knows? So we're actually going to delete that because it's not, I don't want to show that. And when you're deleting stuff, all you got to do is swing the circle over it while holding L2, and that deletes all your vegetation. So we're going to switch this up to, we're going to go back to grass, just so I can show you guys the transition here. We're going to use, grass intermountain. Okay, there we go. Alright, that's good enough. So, while in your forest area, you can have your grass pretty thick. But once you get to the area where you start to transition, you're going to want to fade it out. So how you do that is you go reduce the size of your circle, and then you start slowly fading out. You be very slow on this portion because you don't want it to look like there's absolutely no grass growing. In fact, I think I cut too much out right here. Okay, you just cut too much out, you just add a little bit back in. And the delete tool is perfect because if you were to cover like half a bush, you can delete just one or two bushes. You don't have to delete the whole patch. And it's actually okay to bring some. I don't think we did enough over here. We gotta push more over here. So as you can see, it starts to slowly fade out there. It's okay to bring some of the sand elements over here too. So let's just say, because this kind of looks like a desert now, let's just say we're doing a desert. You can start to bring, I actually don't know if they have any kind of like desert rocks here. Let's see. Oop. Yeah, so I don't think they do. But dead trees is nice. If we can get like a dead no water kind of thing. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, that's practically perfect. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so what you want to do is, when you're fading out, because these look more like things you find in the desert, spiky, sticky, drier grass, dead trees, you can use this to rim your perimeter. And again, I think that circle's actually a bit too big. Oh, when you're doing this, you have to have the texture of the vegetation you want highlighted if you want it to work. So, we're going to put this around the edge here. Let me turn the camera so I can see better. There we go. Let's do this side now. So I only bumped that side. And actually, this side's got too much, this side here was actually a mistake. This has too much in it, so we're gonna bump a lot of this out. Like, that's too much, that's too much. And right there, I think is the perfect transition. So you have rich, beautiful little mountain grass here, and then as you go farther along, you can start to get sticks, and you start to bring in the drier, the dead grass, the desert, little desert flowers, and you come in here, you start seeing these dead trees, and that's how you do a transition. So that is for you guys who want to create multi-terrain maps with different palettes. This and transit and have them interconnecting. This would be a great way to do that. So now we're going to go back to our main map here, and we are going to add our forest. Now I was impressed. I'm done with this area, so I'm going to actually give you guys just a quick little like slow-mo tour, just the last one, so you can get a good look at what it looks like. And then I'm going to change these vegetations because I don't want to waste vegetation slots. And I'll go through it all, smooth out, and I'll delete all of this shit later before the map comes out. Okay, so you saw that, nice. Alright, so what I want to do is I definitely want to try, I want to create my own forest. I don't want to use their forest. So, but I'm not gonna lie, I was intrigued by that, those recipes. That's a cool thing. So we're gonna make our own first. And maybe we'll use a little bit of their recipe, but, I don't think so yet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find grass that we like. And, when you're testing out new, make sure when you're testing grass, make sure you're testing on a wide area so you can see all the features that come with that vegetation. So now I've done it, and let me see how it looks. Okay, I like this vegetation. This is good. Let's see how it looks to the player. Because you always want to keep exploring your maps. That way you know how it looks like to the player, and not just how it looks like when you're looking down, or because you're looking at it at different angles and different symmetries and all that kind of stuff. Come on, Far Cry, you're faster than this. Okay, that's good. You can see my desert little transition area over there. But, no, I definitely like that. So we'll use that. And how I like to terrain is how I like to do grass is very simple. So I'm going to do 2 types of grass. Maybe 3. I usually only do 2, but sometimes I'll end up doing 3. Alright. But before we get into that, we're going to save. It's a good thing to always save your maps. So we're going down to Manage. Or Save. You asked me to save map as, because I haven't named this one yet. As tradition dictates that we put the clan tag in front of all our maps. And this is going to be called Game Reserve, because this is a remake of one of my Far Cry 2 maps. No, I don't have enough left. So anyway, Game Reserve. Now we're going to start with all the grass and everything like that. So we're going to take back to terrain, back to vegetation, back to our first one. Now, unlike bumping or texturing tools, this happens automatically. They put the grass automatically. And you gotta watch out, because you can leak into buildings, it can leak into stuff like that. So I always suggest doing grass first, but if you're forming it around buildings, you gotta be careful. Because it can go inside the building. You can walk into the building and there'd be a fucking bush standing right inside the middle of your church. So you don't want that. Alright, so what we're gonna do is very simple. We're gonna start by, and this is how I like to do it. I like to do it random, sporadic patterns. Because that's how it is in nature. It's random. It's sporadic. So we're going to increase the size a little bit here of the circle. Not too big. Or increase the... fortunately, you can't increase the hardness or anything on this setting. I wish you could. But you can't. So we're going to click there. And we're not going to do dead birch. We're going to grass panderosa. And I am going to go over the cabin area. But I'll delete the grass in a second, so. Alright. Here we go. And don't worry, again, you can paint outside the lines. It is not too big of an issue. Okay, so now you see we've gone through our whole map, and there's going to be grass everywhere once we get down here. Yes. So you can see that the grass has completely covered the map. It's practically everywhere. Really nice. And I think I'm going to use 3 to demonstrate to you guys what I want to talk about. So we're doing like this little slow-mo tour of the grass so you can see how that works. And I think you can see our forest coming together. I've noticed a couple bumps that I'm not liking. We'll flatten those out later. Because you need the grass and everything to come together so you can start to see your forest come together. And then little imperfections are going to, the higher you build up, the more you build your forest, the little imperfections are going to show. And it'll be up to you whether you want to smooth them out or not. Because nature has imperfections. That's what makes nature perfect, is its imperfections. Alright, so now you can see we've done our slow-mo tour. And so we're going to go over here to this corner of the map. Down enough so we can see grass. Okay, we can see when it's done. And we're going to decrease the size of our circle here. And then we're going to choose a new palette. So we're going to get rid of dead birch. And we're going to not use dead shit. Alright, so I think we had generic grass. Let's see what generic grass looks like. No, I don't really like that because I think it's too thick. Let's try alpine fireweeds. Ooh, that looks really beautiful. You know, I want that, but I only want that around my river edge. That'll look really nice near my river edge. It'll make the river really pop. So I think we're gonna save that grass for my river, and you'll see that in river making. So we're gonna save that for later. Let's have pearly flower look. That's not too bad. It's a little tedious choosing the correct grass, but it helps. It really does help. Alright, so I think I like alpine flowers. And what we're going to do now, because the first coat of grass you put on is going to be your base coat of grass. And this is why I chose this one, because it has grass, it has a couple flowers here and there, it's got some shrubbery, some minor plants, and that was a really good base grass. And so now you want to add your detail grasses in. So remember, the first grass that you coat your entire map with is going to be detail oriented. So as you can saw, we had a huge fucking circle for that. We had like a massive circle this size that we were using for grass. Now we're going to lower our circle down to 10. Or actually even lower, like fucking 6. And we're going to add in, actually I think I even want it lower. I want it more like 4. That's better. We're going to add in our alpine flowers. Now we're going to add it in again in random patterns so that we get a nice result. And you're not going to want to cover the entire map with this. This is just because remember, this is replacing your texture, your base grass texture. All right, so we put it in. Now let's go check it out. So you can see where stripes of texture have met our regular grass. So if you don't remember, this right here, this is the regular coat of grass. And then we have our base texture, which is really starting to come in. And you can see that the base texture is more striped. Like right now you can see, clearly you can see this is a path where my cursor went. Because this grass is really low cut and this grass is really high. But that'll change once you add all your other grasses in there and you add your other elements in there. That'll change. And then again, you can go ahead and go around and nitpick the little spots that you think need more of this type of grass or this type of grass. Alright. So I think we're pretty much good here. Alright. So now we're going to add our third type of grass. We're going to go back down here and we're going to see what, we're going to make the circle a little bigger. And we're going to see what type of grass we can get for our third grass. Want something really, really nice. What is mountain grass? No, I'm not sure if I like mountain grass. No. Fortunately, there's not a lot of grass. Wheat field. I definitely do not want wheat. That's something I do not want. Oh shit, I fucked that up. Hold on, let's go down here. We'll find that one again. I actually think I like mountain watergrass too as the third grass. So we're gonna select that as third grass, but we gotta find our first grass first. I actually really like this grass too. That ain't a bad grass. Grass hayfield 2 might be the one we use for our third grass. Where is the grass I had for our thing?
Game.
And again, you want to be really careful because you don't want to choose the wrong setting, because as you can see, it fucks everything up when you choose the wrong setting. I know it wasn't short grass. Oh, that looks like long grass. That's good for residential stuff, but not good for what we need. I really like mountain water glass too. Pearly flower. Ah, here it is, Alpine Flowers one. That's what we were using. Okay, so yeah, I do like this, but I think we're gonna go with that mountain grass too, because I really liked that. Or hayfield. Hayfield 2 was really good too. And I really liked this. We're gonna mark our map with this, and then we'll go ahead and choose at the end here.
What game is this?
This is Far Cry 5. We're in the map editor right now. I'm doing a little tutorial on how to make a proper looking forest. So we're gonna slow down our radius again. And we're gonna switch from Alpine Flowers over to our hayfield here. And now again, we're gonna do this completely random, and we're gonna start at a different corner of the map. So we're gonna go boosh, 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 boo, boo, and that's it, done. So as you can see, now the flowers have gotten less and less, and the grass has gotten more and more. And now you can see that it doesn't necessarily look like completely random shit. Obviously, we're missing a hole here. We're going to fill in. You're going to have your holes that you're going to fill in or stuff. But you don't need to even fill in sometimes. Sometimes you could have put a boulder here or a tree. So we're not going to fill in because you're going to see what happens when we put trees in. But now you can see that it's starting to not look all like different textures. It's starting to come together and actually look like a grassed forest. So that is your 3 measures of grass. Usually in any forest, because we only got limited vegetation slots, I don't push past 3. This map's actually going to have 4, because I really want that nice firewood grass next to my river, so in the future episodes you'll see that. Alright, so now we're going to put in our trees. But before I do that, I'm going to clear the starting area here, because as I told you guys, this is where I'm building my cabin. So we're going to clear this so I know not to put trees there. So what you do, all you do is to clear any kind of forest. I'm making the marker pretty big here. Boom, 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 and I think we're going to do a little bit more than that. Boom, 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 boom. Alrighty, I think that's enough space. Go over to this end, do the same thing over here. And I didn't mark this end as heavily for some reason. This little spot here, this may need to go over with grass again, depending on how big the tree is. Or depending on what trees we use. Okay, so we're going to click here, do this. I think I want a little more up here too. Do that. Alright. And I do think this area needs a bit more grass, even with the trees coming in, so we're going to lower our circle size. We're going to go up to our Alpine, or we're going to go over to our Alpine Flowers here and do a quick nice thing, and then we're going to go over to our...
Is this going to be multiplayer map? I don't have the game, but if you're making your own map, it sounds like something I'd buy.
Yes, and so in Far Cry 5, they have 2 types of maps you can make. They have an outpost or a solo and a co-op map, which you can play by yourself or play with a friend, or I believe it's actually up to six. A six-person party can go into a co-op map. I'm pretty sure on that. So, with that being said, the other map type is multiplayer, where you can have more multiplayer game modes. So for the solo and co-op, you get stuff like Outpost, Assault. For the multiplayer, you get stuff like TDM and more PvP side. But no, you can create your own maps, you can create your own Outposts, your own TDM stuff. I've already got 2 maps up. You can look up my username if you want to check them out. I've got almost complete control over. I pretty much have complete control rather over. Yeah, that'll look fine when I put trees in. I have almost complete control over every little thing that happens in my maps. So, it's going to be a great. It's definitely great. I've gotten 2/3 of the way through the campaign now, and I'm having a blast. The game's pretty fun. I definitely recommend picking it up, especially if you like building your own maps, because this is the best Mapmaker they've had since Far Cry 2. Alright. Sorry I started rambling there. So now we're done with our grass, and we've cleared out the 2 areas for my cabins. And now we're going to add our forest. We're going to start with the trees. So palette 1, we're going to go to, obviously we're not doing palm trees, this is a wooded forest. Pine, I want to have a couple in, but pine's going to probably be our 3rd tree. I like doing 3 types of trees, just like with grass. So first we're going to click regular trees. And so when you're doing trees, you want a really large circle so you can kind of see how the whole thing's going to look on a larger scale. So that's the good size for a circle if you're going to do trees. So as you can see, it gives us this kind of thing. And while this is good, and we may use this as our 2nd layer, because I actually really like this, I don't think we're going to use it as the base. Because this is supposed to be a heavily wooded map. Let's change it up. Alright. So, you have to make sure that while you want your map to be wooded, you don't want it to be over wooded. You don't want it to be so thick that it's like a fucking jungle. So we're going to go down into the map now to see how thick that forest actually is. And we'll be having fun there. Yeah, so when you mess with a lot of the dirt, we really messed with the terrain. And when you do that, it takes the game a bit more time to generate your land. Because we really did screw with the terrain. We smoothed it, we raised it, we lowered it, we dug into it. So, it takes a bit of time. But actually, if you don't fuck with the terrain at all, if you just have it flat, then usually it doesn't, it only takes like a few seconds. Alright, so this isn't as wooded. I've actually thought this was going to be a little more wooded than I wanted, but I think this is really perfect. I like that a lot. And so, I think that actually looks really beautiful. And we're going to, definitely keep, we're definitely going to keep this as this is going to be our base coat. I really like this. The white looks really sexy. It looks really nice. Okay. So we have chosen our base coat. And now what we're going to do is we are going to go in to terrain again, and the vegetation again, and we're going to select our base coat, and now we're going to populate the entire map with this. So.
Oh shit, I gotta get this game.
Yep. It's a fantastic game. please, if you want to see more, I've got a whole series on this coming up. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can see me doing more. But right now, so remember, this is vegetation, and I didn't mark the entire map. There is small areas, even though I know you can't see it, that I did not mark. Like you can see right there, I didn't mark, and right there. So this will replace your grass. So you gotta be really careful with how this works out. So I did leave small patches of our grass, like right here in this corner. I left this grass intact, and we're gonna add more grass in again, the second layering of grass, just so it looks really nice. All right. So let's see here. I actually am gonna pop up this last little space, as a matter of fact here. Now we're gonna free up this area because this is my cabin. So this little area here gets freed up. And then at the opposite end over here, this area will also get freed up. There will be no grass, nothing in here. Just nice. There we go. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we are going to find our second tree. Now I'm just going to do this over here so we don't have to fuck with our spot. But first we're going to save. Always, always, always save. Saved. Always save your maps. So click our second thing of trees here, and we're going to find a second type of tree that we really like. Let's see here. So, like, these are really tall trees. You want to supplement tall trees with short trees. So I want to find a short. This actually looks not bad, but I want to see more. So yeah, you don't want, like you see, this is even medium trees. I don't want medium. I want small. Yellow low. That's actually, having a little bit of yellow in a forest, a woodland forest, is definitely a requirement. So this might be one that we have. But me personally, I don't like the really low yellows. So I don't think, yeah, this is definitely not what I want either. I don't want dogwood. Mango, though. Mango trees? No, mango trees. No, this ain't the tropics.
Can you upload your maps and download other players' maps?
Yes, you
like
can.
Halo maps.
I have already published 2 of my maps on the Far Cry server. I've got one in Outpost. One in solo and co-op called AoA First Draft, and then I got one in multiplayer, which is called AoA Anti-Gravity for it, which is where I play with gravity and that kind of stuff. And you can download other players' maps, you can favorite maps, you can have like this whole playlist of your favorite maps, all that kind of cool stuff. Let's see what Aspen Mixed Low looks like. This is not bad, because this does have some yellow in it, so I may end up using this because it's a mixed flavor. We'll see how that works. But I'm not sure, because with yellow, I really like to get intricate with my yellow. What's Savannah look like? I actually like Savannah. That's not bad. That's really low, too. This is like low. And then Savannah 3 dry. Savannah dry. Oh, what's Savannah dry look like? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I like Savannah dry the best. Yeah, that looks really nice, because it also gives some pretty good, well, the grass is a bit too dry for my forest. Oh, it's still the same damn grass. bark still has a slightly better thing to it too. So I think I'm going to use Savannah Low as my second form of grass. So now, again, we're going to decrease the size of our circle because we're going to have different types of grass, and we don't know if this grass is going to work yet. I mean, this tree are going to work with these. It's very hard to get. You have to find the perfect balance. So let's see how that works out. Rise up just a little bit here. So again, you'll see that well, let's go down there. You've seen that I cut through a lot of the grass we already had and everything already over there. So again, we're going for a wooded style forest, and I like doing multi-tree things. That's kind of my specialty. So we're going to see how this looks now. Because I really did like that plain forest look before, but I wanted a multi-tree forest. Alright. I think it still looks pretty nice. I do think it's a bit too open, but I think when we add our third tree in there, that it's not going to be as open looking. So, no, I still do very much like this where it's going here. But I love the detailing on these trees. Alright, so yeah, that looks pretty sexy. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to our, that's the arcane editor here. And now we're going to pick our third tree. And this is, again, the third tree is we should have a yellow in here. It's a wooded forest, there should be a yellow. But I still want more green, so we may end up going with that mix that we saw earlier. So I select one here. Trees. And then we're going to pick snow mix. No, I don't want to run snow trees, damn. Aspen mixed high, aspen mixed medium. I want to see what the medium mix looks like. Yeah, this ain't bad. We may end up going with the medium. I think we're going to go with the medium mix, because that gives us a little yellow, and it gives us some medium trees, and I do think we need a couple medium trees, because I think that was a little too short for us. So now what we're going to do is we're going to decrease the size of our circle even more. Because when working trees, how it works is that you got your first base coat, which is the primary tree you want in your area, and then you want to add these little details in. And as you keep going on, your second tree should be your second most populated, and then your last one should be the least populated. So whenever I do yellow trees for woodland forest, I always go to the least populated. So we're going to cut out a bit here, add a bit here. Cut out a bit here. And again, you see I'm doing more like strokes, because I'm trying to also fill in the gaps. You can start to see where I'm editing here. It's really going to look really nice. And again, oh shit, I should have marked that area. Damn it, my bad. It's okay, I can fix it. And you really want to keep that real nice. You can do the little strokes, but you really want to keep that real nice structure of editing in there. And we may end up going through and adding more of our base tree. If you think your base tree is too low, then you can go in and add more. That's the best thing about the, nothing's permanent. You can go in, fix it, switch it around, do whatever you have to do. Okay, so now I think I want to check this out from the Mapmaker view, so we'll go down and see how it looks. I think it's looking pretty nice. I definitely think I want a little bit more of my base tree. I see a lot of the base tree here. But I think this area, maybe this area up here needs a bit more of the base tree. So we're going to go back to the base tree. And now whenever you're doing touch-ups like this, because now pretty much our forest is done. I got to touch up grass, and I got to touch up trees, but whenever you're doing touch-up, you always go a small circle like this. At least no bigger than a 6. Like this is probably even too big. I should go down to probably 4. So we're going to add in more of my base tree because I felt that it's not represented enough over here. And I think there needs to be one right here, right there, right there, right there, there, right there, right there. Bam, bam. Okay. So now we're going to clear out our areas again. I keep clearing out the log cabins, but I keep filling them in on accident. But that's okay. That's not a deal. That's not an issue. Alrighty. Okay, so now we're going to go down to our maps, and we're going to see it again from the player's point of view. Remember, all here is going to be my buildings and my stuff like that. I'm going to put grass here and all this shit. So now you can see as we enter the forest, I'm really liking it. I don't know if you guys can see, but I see my changes made. Like, see this tree right here? This tree is not mixed. This is your base tree right here. And this is, again, base tree. So it looks, I think it looks pretty nice. I'm happy with it. I'm going to put more grass in. And so we're going to go on to our next step, which is finishing up grass. So you can see there's some spots that I left open that we're going to put grass in. For trees, we're all done. Now we're just going to do touch up on grass, and I think we'll be fine. Let's go alpine flower. I want hayfield grass. I really like the hayfield grass. And then we'll do pine flowers in later. So again, we're going to bring our thing down to really low, right about 4. And we're going to do hayfield first. Edit in the grass. Because even though it's my cabin, I still want there to be grass around it. Be careful not to go too close to your trees because it will delete your trees. See, I think I just fucked up there. No, I didn't. Okay, that was just a map thing. We're going to clear off because I went too far there. And I think that's it for grass there. We're going to also switch over to alpine flowers really quickly. Add like little patches of alpine. Hello, welcome to the stream. You're catching near the tail end of this stream. We are almost finished making our tutorial forest here, showing you guys how to make a beautiful forest. And right now we are touching up, making the final touch-ups on grass. So we're going to go over here, do the same thing. Hayfield grass. And if you stick around, I'll show you the final finished forest.
Can you put animals?
Absolutely, I am going to put animals into the forest. That I'm going to cover in a later stream called where I cover how to put gameplay elements into the thing. I'm definitely going to put a bunch of deer here. I'm going to put I think a couple moose too. So we're going to have some animals, absolutely. And since you're interested, I guess I'll show you now. I'm not going to place them now, but I'll show you what animals look like now. Hold on. So when you put animals, you're going to go to Add AI, go up to animals, and then it will, you can add in bears, yeah, fish, attack dog. Let's see, where's a good animal for a forest? This is like a mountain forest. I wouldn't put this in here. I put this in like a winter mountainy forest. Where's... Oh, elk. I'll put it here. I might put a couple of these in this map. And I'll show you what they kind of do.
Downloading it today.
Absolutely, it's a fantastic game. So right now when you're in the Mapmaker, you see they move around, they go and they sniff themselves and they do shit. If they get threatened, I think they will run. I think because we're in Explorer mode right now, so the rules aren't the same as if you were just playing the map in regular. Because the exploration mode is just for map makers to see their maps. I think, he's not going to run. In the real map, he'd run. But I can't. I think I can kill him here. I'm not sure if I can. Oh yeah, I can. Okay. So, no, they're pretty realistic. So we're going to go ahead and delete our friendly animal there. We're going to continue with our grass tutorial. So, vegetation, we're going to quickly go back to our hayfield again. I want to add it a little closer over here. That's nice. And then we're going to go ahead and add in our alpine flower patches. And again, I've made a lot of forests over the years, so especially in the Far Cry 2 games, and when I tried playing the horrible map makers in Far Cry 3 and 4. So I've got some experience doing this. Alrighty, so we're going to continue on inside into the middle area here. I think we're going to reduce our circle. I think it's still a bit too big. I like 2 better. So we're going to go to our alpine flower grass, and we're going to stroll through our forest here and see where it needs touch-ups. Okay, so right here I think there needs to be a touch-up added, so we're going to add in some alpine flower patches. I really wish I didn't do that last bit. I like that tree there. Boop, boop, boop. So again, this is really important, this touching out process, because it really gives your map authenticity. Oh yeah, this area definitely needs to be touched up. Yeah, that's perfect. Beautiful. As you can see, as we're heading out near out of the bombs, it's also getting a little lighter. All this needs to be touched up. This could definitely use. See, right here we have a big medium area, so you can have like lesser you can have lesser thick areas in your forest, but you always want to add more flowers to those. Just makes it look nicer. Gives it more pizzazz. Alright, and we're gonna add a little more hayfield grass now over here. I'll do a bit more of that hayfield. There we go. That looks a bit better. And as you can see, it's still clear, but it doesn't look less full because we added in the alpine flowers. The flowers are good because they add in like flowers too, so you have more objects to look at to the eye. And I think our whole lesser side here. Actually, this probably could use a bit more forest, I think.
Are there super thick trees you can add around the borders that will indicate the out of bounds?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do with this map, and that's going to be on, I'm going to show you that. That's the last portion of this video. Obviously, when the player goes beyond this line here, because this is the map boundary line, and you can set this to how you want it. And I did that at the beginning of the stream, so if you want to, when the stream's over, if you want to go back to the beginning, you can watch me set the map boundary lines. So when they go out of here, and I'll show you guys here in a second, you're going to see it up on the top of the screen. It'll say out of bounds. So I'm clearly out of bounds right now. Waiting for that thing to go. Yeah, you see, once the thing disappears, I'm out of bounds. Now, it's not going to respawn me because I'm not, I'm in the exploration mode. But I am going to add a fencing around the whole area because this is a remake of my map on Far Cry 2. So, I am going to add a fencing which is going to indicate player bounds, but I'm also going to add a forest because you don't want when your players are gaming and you have a small map like this, because I'm only using, this is how much of the map you get to get. You saw how big the map is. Those 6 squares are all I'm using. And this is, you get all of this to make on. You can make on all of this. So I'm only using these 6 squares, and that's it. So what I plan on doing is I'm going to make a perimeter. I may end up extending the map boundaries by half a square to fit in the fence. But we're going to make a map, a fence, and then around the fence I'm going to have hardcore forest. Because you don't want, like, a player to be playing your game, and then they see this. That's just fucking stupid. They also do have this new thing, and I'll show it to you now, I guess, because you asked. They do have this new thing called backgrounds, this is completely new, this Mapmaker. And it's got,
I see sniping-based map potential.
Oh, yeah. No, on my original Far Cry version of this map on Far Cry 2, I had, and I'll be making them later, I'm going to position very particular trees, large trees, all across the map, about 8 or 9 of them, and they're going to have secret little ladders that you can climb up to on top of the tree and make like a little sniper's nest. And so there'll be about 8 or 9 of those scattered across the map, but that's going to be a future stream on this map. I'll probably do 8 streams working on this map, 8 or 9 streams, showcasing different elements. This is just the tutorial on how to do the forest first. But yeah, no, this is going to have great sniping potential. But no, we're going to create the wooded forest here in a second once I get done patching grass. So let's go patch this grass here. Boop, terrain, vegetation, alright, and then grass. We'll get a bit of our base grass back in here too, I think. Because our base grass was really, really good. Really low grass. So I think our base grass is actually a little bit better for the surrounding area. Because while we can't see the map making, the player's easily going to see it. This is a really good transition. So you see, we have really thick, heavily wooded grass, and then we have light grass here. This is a really good transition grass, rather. I said glass. Alright. So everyone, that is your main forest. Now I am going to show you that border tool that I promised. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Ooh, terrain. Where was that one again? Oh, so yeah, this is a tool called Backdrop, and as you can see, it does the surrounding area with a backdrop. Snowy mountain, desert area, mountainous area. Again, the only reason we can see the blues is because we're not at player height. When you're at player height, all you'll see is this. And I just don't like any of those. I don't like doing those. So what I prefer doing is making really, really massively thick forests that the player can't see behind, and they only assume that that's just a continuation of the forest. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I don't really like that backdrop tool too much. This map is also going to be a day map, so I'm not fucking with it because right now it's set for noon. All the maps are set. All the standard settings for custom maps are set at noon. You can change it, so you can make it night. You can make it like sundown. You can make it a bunch of different cool stuff. So right now we're going to do our perimeter so that people don't see that. But first of all, we're going to take away this blot of land. Because this was just for me to show you guys cool little things while we were doing the stream here, and we don't need it anymore. So paint right over it. Done. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get the thickest, toughest trees I can find. And we're going to make a very thick barrier. Trees. Oh, yeah. So see, we almost ran out of tree area right there, so I did say I was going to use pine. Because what's a woodland forest without a couple pine trees, right? High. What's that? What's high look like? We're going to select this one. Increase the radius of the circle. Oh no, that doesn't really go in with the whole theme. They're not. No, I don't like that. Can we get a different pine variant? No, I don't like that one either. That's good for marking a border because it's really high, but... Okay, I like these. These are really good and really high, so I think we'll end up using these to mark our border. So I'm going to leave like about a good 8 inches or so, just so I can mark the fence, put in the fence, and we're just going to mark it. Now obviously I'm going to build the fence before I continue, and now you can see it looks like a nice barrier. I'm going to build the fence before I continue, and then I'll fill in with more pine, and I'll fill in with more of our base trees too, so the transition looks nice. I'll fill in that after I build the fence and everything. So thank you all for staying by me with this stream. We've successfully built our forest. Now I'm going to show it to you guys, and then we'll end the stream. But like I said, I think the Far Cry 5 Mapmaker is definitely head and shoulders above Far Cry 4, Far Cry 3. When you play the Mapmaker, you can earn money, and everything you earn in the Mapmaker can be used in the campaign, and vice versa. Practically 95% of everything you earn in the campaign can be used in the Mapmaker. So you can make money in the Mapmaker by playing other people's maps and raiding maps, and then you can go into the campaign and use that to buy campaign weapons. So if you play a bunch of multiplayer, you play a couple hours of multiplayer, it's still going to help you in the campaign, which is cool as shit. So let's go check out our forest now. As you can see, this marks our out of bounds territory. It's a really nice, I actually like it a lot. This is a really nice boundary mark, so we're going to end up doing that. So let's see here. This is our forest, custom handmade forest utilizing 3 different grasses, about to be 4 when I put my river in, and also utilizing 3 different types of trees. And so I think it's a really nice map. I think everyone else would agree with me. Really small, really intense combat scenarios could happen here. You know, so I think this is going to be a really popular one. When I put this map out on Far Cry 2, it had over 5,000 downloads. So we're going to see how well it does here. really, really beautiful forest. I think I did a great job. Again, if when you buy the game, I know you said, person watching my stream, thank you. I know you said you're going to buy the game when you buy it. Definitely look up my maps. You can look them up by my username, PowerPound14, POWERPOUND14, and that'll give you all the my maps that I've made. And you can definitely check this one out in the multiplayer playlist for maps. Alright. So we're going back to the Arcane Editor now. And that is it, boys. I'm going to show you pretty much just the map of the forest from up high here, so you can check it out. So that is our forest. I actually think it looks really nice. So, stay tuned for more. This has been your basic forest tutorial. I hope you liked it. I hope it's helped you guys learn how to make a forest, or given you ideas at least on how to make a forest. Stay tuned next time, because we're going to be covering... thank you very much. We're going to be covering house building, so I'm going to finally build the cabins, and then I'm going to set up those sniper posts. So stay tuned for the next stream, and I'll see you all later.